Hello ladies and gentlemen, Katie here from Ravencroft Guitars, and welcome to the Great Guitar Build of 2022. Thank you everybody for checking this out. I know I haven't uploaded a video in a while, since the last GGBO wrapped up actually. Living in Canada in an unheated garage means that my guitar building gets cut down pretty drastically, so I only get about 2 or 3 done a year. But I'm excited to get building again, and for this year I've got something kind of special planned. This guitar is not going to be auctioned off, and instead I'm also not keeping it because I'm going to be building it for Brendan, who is a friend of mine's little brother who has cerebral palsy. And he wants to play guitar but struggles to play because of his disability. Part of the issue is, sitting in a wheelchair, having a guitar that actually fits between the arms of it, and another is that he doesn't have a whole lot of motion in his left hand, making it difficult to strum with that hand as well as to finger notes. So what I have done is I've come up with this design here. It's a modification of my Telltale designed guitar, which was my last build that I did just for myself. And we've got this large cutaway that makes it so not only does it fit between the arms of the chair when played normally, but that you can put this section between your legs and play it in a little bit more of a vertical style. It's also left-handed. Right hand, he'll be able to, finger notes and everything. He'll be able to do tap-ons and pull-offs and everything that way, and potentially could get a thumb pick and use this hand to strum without having to move the wrist and with limited elbow movement. I'm not demonstrating it very well right now because it would be a little bit lower, but that's kind of the plan. So that kind of got me thinking about what kind of things we could do to make guitar building more accessible for people with disabilities. I think that there hasn't been enough innovation in guitar building in that field, and I think that's something that us as guitar builders, and whether we're hobbyists or professionals, that's something that we should be thinking about a little bit more. So we're going to do this with a multi-scale, so that it's a little more ergonomic for his good hand that will be doing all the strumming. We're also going to be putting raised side dots on the neck. The reasoning for that is because in addition to his physical disabilities, he's also visually impaired. So that will give him a checkpoint to feel with his thumb as he's playing, and the fret markers are all going to be high contrast. I haven't decided if I'm going to go with a silver or with a white or what. I'm going to kind of experiment and see what fits best with the fretboard and with the overall theme of the guitar. The switch is in the same spot that it normally would be in. However, the volume and tone knobs, rather than being down here, I've moved them up because of him basically being one-handed. This will make it easier for him to play, quickly make any adjustments instead of having to reach all the way across and scoot around the neck and everything. We're going to do a front-mounted jack for him so that it's not going to inhibit his chair or the arms of his chair by coming out the sides anywhere. Yeah, I think that's about it as far as the actual body itself. This is the template that we're going to work off of. Yeah, we're going to go with some humbuckers, just some basic humbuckers. He's a big fan of classic rock as well as more modern bands. He's a big fan of like Metallica, Nickelback, that kind of thing. So we're going to go with some humbuckers for him so he can be just loud enough to annoy his parents. With this, we're going to go, as far as materials, we have this big old slab of cherry. This is going to make up the body, and we're going to go with like a midnight blue, kind of cobalt blue, navy-ish color scheme with this. I'm going to actually paint it. I've never painted a guitar before, so we're going to experiment with that. For the top, I have this lovely piece of English walnut that we're going to use. That's going to be my topper. That's going to be left blank to really make sure that it's accented. Just an oil finish, maybe a clear coat instead of an oil. I haven't decided yet. I think I'll probably just do clear coat because I'm going to do clear coat with the paint as well, and that'll balance everything out. For the neck, I'm having trouble getting all my stuff. I need to clean my garage. For the neck, we're going to go with some sapele and then black walnut as our fingerboard. The neck is going to be painted, but obviously the fingerboard not. And then the headstock will have a top veneer made out of what's left over of the English walnut. But before we get into any of that, last year I had to build a router sled. It was the first router sled I ever had to build. It was this lovely thing made out of spare plywood and too many screws. And I made a comment about how there's no great router sled build-off, and nobody took the bait. So we're going to raise the ante a little bit, and we're going to over-engineer a router sled. So let's get that done first, and then we can get it started leveling out that body blank and go from there. Enjoy. That's a router sled. Now, some of you may know I'm Canadian, and whenever I do things that are a little unorthodox in the garage, I'm reminded of an old Canadian proverb, we'll call it, that I was taught from a very wise man that is an inspiration to a lot of Canadians. And yeah, if the women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. I don't know if this is handy or not, but I'm definitely not handsome, so I hope so. Trick that I've learned in the couple of guitars that I've built is that it's always good on your template to draw which direction the router should be moving to avoid tear-out. Unfortunately, this does mean that every time I need to question myself as to which way the router should be going to avoid tear-out. So, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that the guitar gods decided to test me, and they did that by having the bearing on my router bit unscrew itself as I was going over this area here. You can't really see it from the camera angle, but on the side here, there's a good 1/8" gap on this side, and then some just straggly bits on this side. Not the end of the world. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. All it essentially does for me is determine where my belly carve is going to be all on its own. I don't really have a choice in the matter now, which is fine. Not the end of the world. It also gives me an excuse to pull out my Shinto saw rasp, which is always a good thing. So we're just going to mark out here some pencil lines so that I kind of know where I'm carving, and get to work. So I hummed and hawed over it. I was just going to put a bevel on this side and in here. And then I wasn't sure if I should do it around everything. And I think I've decided I'm just going to put a bevel on all of it. Should make it more comfortable for Brendan to play as well. It'll kind of give this like a inset look, I think, is my goal at least. So, away we go. getting ready to glue my fretboard on. Now normally I cut my frets before I glue, or at the very least cut this to shape. However, because I'm going multi-scale, I'm a little worried about making sure that everything is just right. So what I'm going to do instead, since I've cut out the neck, I'm going to glue this on now, then cut it down, and then do my fret slots afterwards. Makes sense in my head. I could be very wrong, but if I am, I more would. Is what it is. Okay, so here's where we are at. Resin has been curing for 24 hours. It's still a little tacky, so I'm going to give it probably another day just to make sure that it's good and cured. I'm a little worried about it because it is about a year-old resin, and sitting out in my garage, it may have frozen in its separate components at one point. I made sure it was good and thawed, and I think it'll be okay, but it came out a little thicker than I remember. Might just be being paranoid because it's resin. But fingers crossed that it'll all work out the way it's supposed to. My goal, today is currently Sunday, my goal is to be able to paint and clear coat next weekend because it's a long weekend. So I'll be able to get more coats done really quickly rather than having to wait. So things I need to get done before then. I need this to cure. I need to radius the fretboard. I need to finish sanding. It did spill over here a little bit, so some cleanup will have to be done. But finish sand, last little bit of carving that I want to do around the volute, make sure that that's all good. I need to get neck pocket put in. I put this on my Instagram story, but this is coming out later. I'm a little concerned because the heel of my neck is about 2 to 3 millimeters wider than what I accounted for up here. I don't know how that happened. I suspect that while I was sanding this, that I got a little overzealous. So I'm not sure. I'm just going to shift it over a little bit, and how noticeable a couple of millimeters will be with the neck being slightly off from this. I don't know. I might just cut it and have it kind of free hang here and hope that the glue on this side, and this side is strong enough. Not really sure, but I gotta figure that out. I gotta get that drilled out, or routed out. I need to get my pickup cavities routed. Curious thing, because of making the cavity here so that the controls will be farther up for Brendan, I unfortunately have the cavity going into where my pickup cavities will be. I don't think it'll be an issue because I'm using pickup covers, so that'll still give me the support and mounting it to the body. I'm just space. Cutting away this big chunk has left me with less space than I was accounting for, so just want to figure that out. If nothing else, wiring will be super easy because I won't have to drill the scary hole. It'll just go in. I did have to scoot these back because I can't put them right up here because of this carve will be in the way and my pickup will just be free hanging, so obviously can't do that. And now I'm a little bit concerned, because everything's concerning at this point, a little concerned about my bridge and space. I don't have a ton of wiggle room here, maybe about a centimeter forwards and backwards, but that's what we need to do. So before I can get all that done this week, I need to figure that out. I'm not going to actually fret it until it's in, but get that carved at least, or sanded, radiused is the word. I'm tired. COVID's been knocking me on the butt. Sand, route, and glue neck to body. So, gonna be a busy week. Hopefully get that done here in the next couple of evenings after work, and then we can be painting, which I'm a little nervous about. But yeah, that's kind of the plan. For anyone who may be curious, for the paint, we're going to be using some Krylon. I don't know what color they call this. It's like a navy. Iris, I think, maybe. I don't know. It's like a blue. It's kind of that retro classic car look that I'm looking for. And then we're going to finish it off with a high gloss clear. I suspect I'll need another can of this, but we will see. So yeah, that's where we're at. Wish me luck. stringing it up. I broke a couple strings, but I can still use this to test my wiring and get my action and everything set up. But okay, so there's a little bit of buzz, so I think I've got a grounding issue somewhere. I'll go in with some tape and put that all in, the shielding tape. But as well, I've got some string buzz and a couple places up here on the high G where I've got some dead notes and some places where it's hitting more than one fret. And as I look at it, it looks like we've got a couple frets that somewhere along the line have become unseated. So we got another pack of strings. So we'll just tear these ones off, put the new ones on, and while I'm in the middle of that, I can reseat these, re-level the frets, and basically just use that as an opportunity to practice my fretwork a little more, because that is definitely the point of my building that I'm the weakest at. Yeah. So more practice is never going to be a bad thing, and even as I'm looking at these, some of these can be ground a little better. I think I was just in a rush to get it done and to this point, which I think is probably a fairly common amateur problem. So we'll just address it and move on. Okay. Nowhere to go but up. Also, I should make sure I turn off my soldering iron before I touch it.
One eternity later.
Okay, moment of truth time. It's about 11:30 at night. I've been doing this for hours, but oh, I don't know my amp is plugged in. That's how you know it's leaking. And just like that, the guitar is done. We have it right here, and yeah, there's a lot of things with this that I'm very happy with how they turned out. There are some things I'm not so happy about, but at the end of the day, I kind of just need to tell myself that those criticisms are going to be just me as a builder, and that at the end of the day, this is an instrument that is going to let Brendan be able to learn how to play in a way that is a lot more comfortable than you would otherwise be able to, and that's all that really matters. While, I can sit here and point out things about it that I don't, feel 100% were done as well as possible, that is not really the point, and that's just kind of down to my own ego. And that, as long as Brendan gets a chance to play, that's what matters. I'll end with some glory shots here of it, and then, did I just say glory shots? Anyway, I will end with hopefully a video of me giving it to Brendan, but yeah. Lots that I learned on this. I can't give you a sound demo for a couple of reasons. One, it's a left-handed guitar, and I don't know how to play left-handed guitars. But two, my amp decided to die on me, as I was practicing it, which made me go for a loop trying to figure out where my wiring went wrong and quadruple checking everything. My wiring is right. My amp just sucks. But anyway, yeah. thank you so much once again, everybody. I'm going to polish this up, get some shots, and then give Brendan a call. So thank you so much, everyone. Make sure you check out other people in their Great Guitar Build-Off episodes. Check out merch if you're interested. And at the time that I'm recording this, I'm doing the giveaway for Ravencroft Guitars hoodie on Instagram. So go check that out if you're interested. But yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one, guys. So Brendan is on the way to get his guitar. He's being brought over by his soon-to-be brother-in-law. He has no idea that he is getting it. He knows that I'm building it for him, but he doesn't know that it's done. Garrick told him that he's going for ice cream. So we're going to surprise him when he pulls up and give him his guitar. Just hold it. Okay.
I really like the size of your garage.
Thanks. Yeah, it could be bigger, but that might just be me.
So what's up? You no way!
Yeah, man.
Hang on, let me move my
Yeah. She's all yours.
Oh my gosh, this is awesome! Thank you!
No worries at all, man.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is really cool. Thank you, Cade.
No worries. So it's got a bunch of kind of accessibility features there for you. Should make things a little easier for you. So obviously it's left-handed. Figured you're left-handed, that probably make things easier for you.
I love the design.
Good.
Thank you,
No
man.
worries.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem, buddy. This big cutaway here should make it so it fits inside the arms of your chair.
Okay, so where do I plug it in?
So you plug it in right here. So I give you a front-mounted jack rather than on the side like most guitars. So that way the cord won't get hooked up in like your wheels of your chair or anything. You can just run it straight down in front of you and it kind of keeps everything nice and neat and tidy. And then on the side here, if you ever decide that rather than laying it down, you want to try and play upright, we've got all the side dots here are slightly raised. So you can feel them with your thumb as you're playing rather than having to like look for them. Because I know that's kind of an issue.
I can't wait to test this out tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this guitar. Love it.
Yeah. So be like fully aware I am not like Gibson or Fender. So there might be some little issues or things here and there. But if there is anything, then I will fix it. Or if you take it to Warren in town, he's amazing. He's able to fix pretty much everything. But yeah, so it's not perfect, but hopefully for you it'll make things a little easier, and at least you've got something that's fully yours.
Okay, so what does this switch do?
So this switch will switch between the two pickups, and they'll have slightly different sounds just because of how far away they are from the bridge. Because the strings vibrate a little more up here than they do back here. So when you're playing your rock and guitar solos and stuff, you switch over to the neck pickup and it'll be a little brighter and a little louder for you.
And you put in a pickup so it sounds like what they use for
Yeah, so we went with two, they're called humbuckers, and essentially what these are they're coils of wire around magnets, and every electric guitar has them, but humbuckers specifically are kind of what most of the bands that you listen to use. So like your Metallica, Nickelback, Motley Crue, like those kinds of guys, all their guitars have humbuckers, so I figured if that's the kind of music you're going to be playing, we might as well give you that stuff. Also make it loud enough to annoy your parents when you're practicing, so...
So what kind of wood did you use?
So the body is all made out of cherry, and then this top piece here is English walnut.
Okay.
The fretboard is black walnut, and then the rest of the neck is sapele, which is kind of like mahogany.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that one's sounding a little flat, actually.
It might be a little bit flat as the strings are new, so as they kind of stretch out and get used to being under tension, the tuning might flatten out a little bit. You might have to adjust it a little bit here and there over the next couple of days. But,
okay.
Yeah. But that's everything in new strings, so.
Okay.
Are you excited?
Yes, I am.
What did you just get?
I just got my new guitar. Woo! Woo! No, I was gonna say, too bad you don't have an app for me to test it out on.